Hi everyone, it's Keep My Pants. We are back with Under the Fall Sky, Blood Covered Snow, and last time basically we are in the camp now and one of our comrades just got shot. So in what Mari could only understand as a sudden explosion of anger and panic, Aaron's mech started to struck forward, pointing its machine gun at the camp. He showered the camp in a hail of bullets.
You absolute...
Oh no. With a violent jolt, Mari was capitalized several meters aside, and not for being strapped in so tightly while clutching the armrest of her seat. The impact would have effortlessly thrown her head first out of the windshield. Rubbing her shoulders, she tried to reposition herself and regain her composure. Shit's going down. Oh no. As the veil of obscurity suddenly dispersed, Mari discerned numerous beams of light pointed squarely at them. There was no denying it. They were indisputably surrounded. In an instant, 7 red dots started to blink on the radar at the same time, positions from which the light beam originated. Oh no, are they gonna die? How could this be? Why are they only popping up now?
This is crazy!
Yeah. Without exchanging any words, she maneuvered herself to Aaron. Back against back, she drew in a final breath. She had no option but to fight back. If she didn't survive, then there was no chance that the colony would either. Because she's their leader? Oh. A small Polaroid picture taped to the top left corner of the screen caught her eye. It was a 4-year-old Mika sitting somewhat awkwardly on her lap and staring into the camera with a big smile. Is she gonna die? With a newfound resolve, she positioned her mech gun in the direction that light beams were coming from. With an unnatural awareness of her movements, they immediately began to shift, moving towards her at an abnormal speed.
What?
Oh, her mech's old too. Instinctively, she began to shoot, but the bullets bounced off the models with a series of anticlimactic pings. No matter how many bullets she shot, none of them hit the mark. Oh no.
This can't... How?
Your mech is old.
Aran! Fall back! That is an order!
Boss, they killed her! How can you expect me to just leave? They killed her right in front of me! That brat! She wasn't supposed to die like this! These bastards! They have to pay!
Aran! No!
No! She could only observe in horror as Aran charged recklessly towards two of the emanating mechs. He sprayed a surge of bullets with pristine accuracy, each round filled with relentless rage, but it wasn't enough to penetrate the armor. It was hopeless. It was futile. All she could do was watch. With a single blow, his signal vanished. His mechs erupt in a blazing, all-consuming red in front of her. Oh no, she lost 2 of them. They're like the best soldiers. Frozen still by the shock of the situation, she didn't notice the enemy to the right stamping straight towards her. She narrowed, evaded the frontal attack. If she were even a millisecond later, she would have... Behind the window opposite to her, she was able to make out the figure of a young man. His murderous, spiteful smile covered her body in goosebumps, making it difficult to dodge the relentless onslaught.
It's a real shame that your comrades got such a quick and painless death. It's just no fun unless I hear whimpering and begging for mercy. Can you at least give me a better show?
Oh god.
Mari, the Deathbringer of the rebellion, struggles in her performance. Pitiful. Where's the heartless wrench that wiped out an entire ark with countless families?
That wasn't us! We didn't attack any civilians!
Quit the bullshit! I saw you with my own 2 eyes! You ripped my twin sister away from me without a second thought!
This can't be. You're...
A surge of memories erupted, flooded her mind. She fairly recounted the driver of an enemy merc standing practically in front of her twin brother to take the fatal blow, trading her life for his. The natural landscape drawn by war, painted indiscriminately with streaks of blood.
Yes, that's right! I am your downfall. I will make sure to destroy everything you hold dear. Your friends, your family, the love of your life. Anyone you hold dear will feel my wrath.
Her adversary lunged forward in a second attempt to strike. As Mari desperately tried to back away, the anticipated came to fruition. In all shock and commotion, she hasn't realized how much she had been pushed to the edge of the cliff. Oh no, she's gonna die. Her mech's legs frame were too heavy to adjust in time, slipping and causing her to tumble. She tried to cling to the stony ground with her front legs. She had not taken her opponent into consideration. Revealing in her helplessness, he offered a taunting push, severing away what little grip she had left. Oh shit. Laden with heavy eyelids, she struggled to keep her eyes open. Her field of vision had completely blurred, and her body felt unnervingly light, devoid of any pain. It was at this moment that she knew she was dying. Warm blood began to pool in her lungs. Hybrid or not, she couldn't have survived a wound like that. How could all this happen? These mech models? And why didn't they? The bruising hit her like a brick. The radar, the blinking speed, the bullet recray, everything made sense to her now. In retaliation, they must have upgraded and advanced their weaponry. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. It was all because of the events that had transpired a month ago. It was because of that mission and the biggest sin she had committed. So she's referencing the previous game. So it's all my fault. The windows had completely shattered due to the fall, letting in the cold air of the winter night. The fleeting sensation of the chilly night began to dull, and her every breath became increasingly more difficult to take. As if she was being ridiculed for her transgressions, the Polaroid picture still clung to her, what was left of the windshield. Her eyes immediately began to burn as searing tears began to roll down her face, but even the sensation of the warmth began to whittle away. What a failure she was. At the end of all, what had she truly achieved? What was the point of her existence if she couldn't even protect her own child, keeping him safe from the calamities of this world? Her vision stained with a blurry red, could faintly make out an approaching silhouette. Was it the boy who had pushed her down? What would he do to her? It's probably the general guy, right? He probably couldn't get much pleasure out of the state she was in anyways. To her surprise, it was someone else. His uniform was that of the enemy.
Here. To finish the job, huh?
Without replying, he stepped closer to her, clutching the handgun tightly in his right hand. Mari couldn't decipher if it was pity, shame, or sadness strewed across the man's face. He stopped directly in front of her. With unrelenting eye contact, he raised his shooting arm, and...
I have a son and daughter. They're barely 12 and 8. Please, spare them. They have nothing to do with this conflict.
She knew it was a gamble, that her words might fall on deaf ears, but it was all that she could do. She knew that her words were hypocritical. The demon that her enemy had seen her for, begging for mercy in her last breath, but it was all she could do.
Mika.
Emerging from the factory's doors, he slept into his silence in the quiet, chilly night. A brief reprise from the chaos of Mika's adolescence and the weight of today's events. The vacant yard lit up with the gentle glow of the distant stars, welcomed him into the mutant's serenity. The rhythmic, monotone hum of the machinery behind him was a welcome annoyance in the wake of the verbal ratting he had grown accustomed to.
Why can't things just be easy for once?
He knew Mika was behaving this way around him. Given his age and the circumstances, he probably would have acted the same way, and yet... Nevertheless, he wanted to prove to the boy how mistaken he was in his resentment. He had no desire to impede on his biological father's place. Still, Gabriel wanted to be there for him. He's trying to be a good stepdad. Letting out a loud sigh, he rubbed his temples and began to walk across the yard towards the warehouse. Due to today's events, he still hadn't been able to properly attend to Mari's initial request. She had asked him to prepare the mech that meant so much to the boy and her as a New Year's present for Mika. He would soon have been 13 years old, which meant he'd finally be taught to pilot a mech. Had it not been for Mari's kindness, Ada might have been able to survive that day. If she hadn't been taken the initiative that had been given to give them shelter, his daughter would have succumbed to her body's weak condition. He was certain that if his most precious treasure had been taken away from him, he would have followed after her. Without realizing it, he had stepped closer to the gate that led out of their home towards the forest. Oh no, he's gonna see despite the brilliant moon immersing everything in its soothing light, it had already become so dark that he could only vaguely discern the outlines of the treetops along the horizon. How long is it going to take her? It's been over 3 hours.
Ah.
As if his mind had imagined them in panic, 3 pairs of headlights flashed in the distance. Oh god. With the weights being lifted off of the young man's heart, his grip on his back leather strap eased.
Wait.
No.
Something is off. These headlights.
Oh god. The realization struck him with the intensity of 1,000 sharp stabs, compelling to stagger backwards. These were not the same headlights as the ones seen on their models. The mech's headlights were too bright for even that, even if only barely noticeable. Carried by his tremble leg, he hurried to one of the control towers posted on both sides of the entrance. Tripping over the narrow staircase, he opened the hatch and pulled himself up into the control room. Ah! Danger! Danger! He's greeted by a nonchalant young member of the rebellion. The guard was leaning back in his chair, biting into a small loaf of bread. His legs were casually propped up on the control, unaware of the incoming storm. Damn, some great lookout he has.
Oh, hi Gabe. Look, the boss and the others are coming back.
No, they're not. That's not them.
That's not Mari. Activate the sirens. Now!
What are you talking about?
No, they're
Aren't
not.
these their signals?
No.
Look.
No. Garber's waiting to strike as the 3 blue dots began blinking on the radar screen. These signals are coming from their mech models, no doubt. But they're not. As someone who is familiar with the mechanics and architecture as a wide variety of mech models, he knew this could be one thing. Mari. She was...
No.
No.
No. This can't be.
What's wrong, Gabrielle? Did Mika's pestering get to you that much?
Sound it! Sound it!
Turn on the alarm. Right now!
He didn't sound on the alarm, right? Did he? Like a lullaby, little Ada's soft and calming breathing filled the room, illuminated only by the faint light given off by Mika's spotlight lamp. While Ada had drifted peacefully into slumber, Mika laid in his bed, his arms tucked behind his head, and his gaze fixed on the low ceiling of their tiny room. He wasn't even sure if this could be called a room. It was just an old train compartment that his mother had converted into a bedroom for the 2 children. That's kind of sweet. He couldn't shake a thought that plagued his mind, though. No matter how much Gabriel had tried to downplay the situation, Mika knew his mother wouldn't just go on a trip. Lethargically, he pulled up his upper body and let his legs dangle over the edge of his so-called bed. Marked by today's curiosity, his body felt heavy and tired. He veered his eyes over to Ada, who gave a discontented grunt, seemingly as the sound of his movements. He rolled onto her side, her back at him. For a few seconds, he remained uncomfortably still, afraid that the slightest muscle contraction could wake the little girl from her slumber. However, he was soon released from his status by the calm breaths emanating from her. How could she sleep so peacefully? As he was about to lie back down, he noticed something flashing on the ground from the corner of his eye. An old and rather tattered leather journal, the edges of which had indefinitely seen better days. It wasn't hard for Meek to figure out who owned this little journal. He kept seeing the idiotic Gabriel carrying it around with him, jotting down notes. It must have fallen on his bag when he had put the two children to bed just a few minutes ago. Mika's curiosity got the better of him. Finally, he had a chance to look at his contents. Gabriel guarded it as his life depended on it, never allowing so much as a glimpse inside. He must have collected a wealth of information of the colonies in its pages. This was his opportunity. He can finally expose him and reveal his true colors. With his shaky hands, he slowly leaned across the edges of the bed, stretching his arm with all his might. His fingertips reached for the ribbons of the notebook. Got you! Carefully, he pulled up the strap and sat back up. His gaze remained locked on Ada. Thankfully, she was still sound asleep. Let's see. I wonder what's inside. February 10th. Ada has finally found enough strength to walk again. I'm relieved, but I can't get rid of this overwhelming sense of fear. The fear that as soon as her small, fragile hands let go, mine should be blown away by the spring breeze like a seed of a dandelion. Oh, how I wish I could give her my heart and strength, or even my life. If it means she can grow up healthy and without any pain, I would greatly bear any pain or any tournament. Though I should be grateful that she's still here with me. After all, it's my fault that it's come to this, and I don't know how to repay Mari and her colony for this precious miracle. It's only been 2 months now, and when I'm not aiding Ada, I try to help out the machines and share my knowledge. But is that enough? All of them, especially Mari, have done so much for me. For a perfect stranger, how can I ever make up for this step? Granted, Mari tells me she's happy to do this and only wants nothing but my support in this end term yet. May 23rd. I wish Ada and Mika would get along better. Every time Ada makes an approach, he rejects it and makes one of his silly comments, resulting in Ada throwing a fit. I understand he's suspicious of us. After all, we are all still strangers to him, but they are the only children here. Mustn't he feel lonely too? How can I prove to him that we mean him and his home no harm? How can I show him that he doesn't need to be afraid of us? Especially because I know that no matter what I do, I probably never gain his trust. June 3rd. Today was the first day I accompanied Mari on an expedition. Although I can pilot a mech to some extent, my skills level isn't nearly good enough for combat, so I sat beside her in a mech. It was strange. I don't know what was wrong with me. I was often hot and cold. My hands were sweaty and my chest felt heavy. Maybe I'd eaten something wrong, but eyes kept wandering to her, how she was always grinning and driving the mech so confidently. No, could you even call that confident? No, maybe crazy? No, manic is a better term. Maybe the strange feeling could have been the fear of her risky maneuver, sending us flying straight to the nearest tree or mountain, killing us both. August 18th. I have fallen in love, head over heels in love. I know I shouldn't have those feelings. After all, she's my favorite savior, and yet I can't take my eyes off her. Her beautiful, vibrant eyes, the way she treats the people of the colony, her son, the way she selflessly guides the colony, she takes my breath away, like the pleasant crispness of the spring mornings that breathes new life into my lungs, dazzling like the sun rising high on the horizon, once again eloping the world in its hope-giving light. The last time I felt like this was when Hannah was alive. Hannah. It's been 8 years now since she succumbed to her weak body, leaving me and our newborn Ada behind on this God-forsaken earth. I've never thought I might witness the day I feel like this again. It's strange. I should feel guilty, but I don't. The more I think about it, the more my feelings to Hannah feel like a distant memory. October 30th. They have finally returned. They all seem to be in a festive mood, having finally destroyed the Ark and satisfied some of their burning desire for revenge. One person, however, who didn't feel like celebrating was Mari. As always, she had to put on her "I'm a tough leader and have to suck it up" my true emotions face and smiled at her group before saying her goodbyes and withdrawing from the party. I knew something was wrong, so I followed her. Once again, my gut feeling wasn't wrong. Curled up and drowning bitterly in her tears, I found her in her room. Seeing her in this state sent a sharp pain through my chest, and I found it difficult to breathe. I had to do something, dry her tears, take away her worries, but as so often I was frozen in place, motionless. In the end, it was her, again, who sought the needed comfort and support in my arms. Apparently, something had gone awry during the mission. Even though the goal was achieved in the end, there were more casualties than originally planned. I have their bloods on my hands. It's my fault. She kept repeating that over and over like a mantra. What should I have answered? Should I have been more honest and agreed with her and lie? Or lie and lull her into a false sense of innocence? Was staying silent the right thing to do? I'm pathetic, right? That's it. That was October. So, nothing. Mari was about to close the book and set it aside when a deafening sound shook the room, causing the dim bedside light to flicker. It's the alarm. They did sound the alarm.
Ada! Wake up! Hurry!
Shit's going down. Mika frantically yanked himself out of his bed, vigorously shook Ada's shoulders. Each passing second, the siren reached his ears. It felt like his souls were slowly being sucked out of his body. Ada, wake up! Wake up! Jesus Christ! As if he was a mere observer. Ada!
What's the matter? Why are the sirens on? Is this the practice alarm?
Are you kidding
Don't
me?
be stupid. There's no way that it would be a practice alarm in the middle of the night. Come on!
This girl. Without a second thought, he threw the cardigan and scarf to her before slipping into his shoes. As he was about to turn to Ada, the book lying on his bed came into focus. In his scrambled eyes, he took it and put it in his jacket pocket.
What about Dad? Where is he?
I don't know.
How should I know? We have to get out of here. If you don't hurry up, I'll leave you behind.
No, I'll hurry. I promise. Please don't leave me.
Oh, poor Ada. She frantically threw on her clothes and reached out to grab Mika's hand. Her whole body trembled with fear. She clutched to Mika's hand as if it were a lifeline, a delicate, elusive thread that assuaged her fears. Oh, poor Ada.
Come, now.
For the last time, he looked around the cramped train compartment, which he had called his own territory, his sanctuary for so long, despite the fact that he had to unwillingly share it. Run, run, run! A heavy lump formed in his throat as he tried to suppress the ominous thoughts that were forcing its way to the surface. Siren's harrowing cry would only sound for one reason, and he knew why. In the quarter, they were almost trampled by a stampede of Panic Colony's residents, who scurried in all directions. Their frightened screams and shrieks were swallowed by the loud sirens.
Hey, what's going on here?
He managed to grab one of them by the sleeve and pull him back.
You two have to get out of here, quickly! The military just stormed the place!
The military?
Run, run, run! Mika could feel Ada's grip tighten and her palms became sweatier. Her small fingernails dug painfully into the back of his hand. Even though he hated to admit it, he felt no different. The pain that threatened his heart to burst deprived him of the strength to breathe. They were here. Those bastards were really here. He had to fight. He had to.
Take the rear exit. It should be safer than leaving through the front. Try to hide from them as best you can, okay?
I don't think they're gonna
No,
hide.
I'll help.
Mika, no!
I don't think he's gonna
Don't be
help.
stupid. You're a kid. What makes you think you'd stand a chance against machines?
You can't even
What
pilot
about
a mech.
Mom? Are they back from the expedition?
Your mom is dead.
And where's Dad?
We'll do everything we can to stop these monsters, but you must run now. Do you understand?
You should be safe first. Hurry. Oh no.
Mika, I'm scared.
Shh. Just be quiet.
They managed to get out of the factory building unscathed. As the man had said, the rear part site was still empty. Neither Rebel nor any of the military rats had been seen. What now? Where should the two of them go? The only way to get out the factory ground was the entrance, which would mean they would have to run through the middle of the oncoming battlefield. If they were to hide here, it would only be a matter of time before they'd be found. If only he could pilot a mech to get the two of them out of here. He can't though.
I have an idea.
What's his
I
idea?
don't like that look on your face.
Is he just gonna pilot a mech without
You
really...
have no other choice. Come on, now.
The warehouse is the direct path to the entrance. Once they made it there, they also make it out of the camp. So if they are gonna get the mech.
Just a little bit more. Then
As Miko was able to turn the corner for the warehouse gate, he abruptly came to a halt. Rapidly, he pulled Ada back. Clutching her to his body, he pinned his back against the wall, leaning forward cautiously. He tried to make out the scenario playing just a few feet from them. At a fraction of a second, he saw the three individuals emerging from the mechs, weapons drawn. Illuminated by the flames and burning observation towers at the entrance, he was able to make out a young, graceful woman, a similarly young, laid-back man, and a person very familiar to him.
this can't be.
Mika,
That man was with those bastards. He was one of them. If he hadn't met him, if he hadn't helped him, would any of this have happened? Yeah, it still would have. Was all of this his fault?
Man, watching these worms squirm for their lives is so much fun. Commander, why'd you go and be a total killjoy by blowing that bitch's head away? I could have had a really good time with her.
be quiet, you fool.
It's so pathetic that the infamous Mari was such a pushover when shit hit the fan. Executing her was child's play.
Mom?
Her and her name pierced his chest like a claw of savage beast after his own little heart. She's dead? I have to kill them. They must die or else they'll...
Mika!
As though her voice brought him back to his senses, their eyes met. Her sad, crimson eyes locked with her, and her hand moved up to his cheek, gently wiping away one of the tears in a futile attempt to stop the flood that now streamed from his face. Was he crying?
I have to admit, Yona, the idea of taking their trackers and placing them in our mechs was brilliant! These idiots didn't suspect a thing!
Commander, I'm going to check inside for any survivors. If you'll excuse me.
I'll have a look around too. Don't do anything reckless, Nahum.
Sir, please, don't baby me.
This is her last chance. Only one of them is in sight. They had to sneak past him somehow to get to the warehouse. As if it was God himself who had heard Mika's plea, a metallic sound echoed from the direction opposite to them.
Who's there?
Now, without warning, Mika instantly grabbed Ada's hand and dragged her with him. As fast as his shaky hand could carry him, he ran towards the hall entrance. Are they gonna make it? Uncertain as to whether the man had noticed the two or not, Mika looked around the dimly lit area with a frantic desperation. I have to be quick. Like, would the key even be in the mech? His vision locked steadily onto a mech in the far corner. He knew it wasn't time yet, but he was left with no choice. Once they finished sprinting towards the mech, Mika let go of Ada's hand and pulled himself onto the cockpit, determining to flicker his eye.
What are you doing?
I'm getting us the hell out of here.
Is it gonna work?
This is dangerous. Do you even know how to pilot that?
Without a hiss, the hatch leading to the cockpit popped open, and he climbed in, quickly scanning its interior. Even if it was a different model, the layout surely had to be similar. Is it older then?
Ron has shown me how to operate his mech a few times. In secret, of course.
That's not really reassuring.
Ada's short scream made him freeze. Were they here? Had they noticed them after all? Expecting the worst, he slowly turned around and looked directly in Gabriel's eyes.
What on God's green earth are you thinking of doing?
Let go of me! I have to get us out of here!
Do you want to die? You have no idea how to control these things. Besides, this one is still under maintenance.
So what?
So what? At the entrance are a bunch of bloodthirsty soldiers, eager to kill you.
What do you know? You just let my mom die and lie to us! Why didn't you protect her? Why could it have been you? She's dead!
Blinded by his rage, Mika failed to notice the countless wounds that littered Gabriel's body. Blood streamed from his forehead and mouth, and his right hand hung limp by his side.
You're hurt?
That doesn't matter now.
With little strength he could muster, he grabbed Mika by his hood and pulled down the cockpit and down to Ada, who had been silently watching the two argue.
Dad.
Trying to ignore the pain as not to worry, he knelt down by his daughter. Her eyes were welted with a growing despair. A sorrowful smile graced his lips as he gently brushed the strands of her hair, which had fallen in her face behind her ear.
Ada, my beautiful daughter. You have to be strong now, okay?
Dad?
His eyes flashed and darkened. Without paying any heed to protests of the children, he grabbed them and pulled them into the center of the hall.
Let go!
He swung open a trap door. Without closer inspection, it looked like the rest of the floor panels in the darkest. In the darkest, Mika managed to make out the small cavity beneath the opening, and it dawned on him.
Gabrielle, wait!
There is no time to wait.
A serious glare bore into Mika's eyes, flooding his entire body with suffocating anxiety. Petrified, he couldn't react in time as Gabriel quickly grabbed his jacket and thrust him into the darkness.
Hey!
The hole was barely big enough for Mika to fit in, but as he tried to pull himself out of it, he was pushed back down by Ada's body. Just like Mika, Gabriel had pushed her in.
Dad, no!
You're right, Mika. I'm a failure. I'm someone who isn't strong enough to protect the people I love.
Gabrielle! Stop!
I'm sorry that I wasn't able to convince you that I had no ill intentions. I'm sorry that I couldn't protect your mother.
Aww,
you can curse me for all eternity.
that's so sad.
Just please, let me do this.
No!
Despite all that, I love you too.
Is the trap door or
Dad,
the door
open the door!
not obvious?
Dad!
With one hand, Mika covered her mouth while she wrapped his free arm around her upper body. She tried to free herself with his tight grip, but she didn't stand a chance. No matter how reluctant he was to face the situation, he knew that resistance was futile. Why am I so weak? Silence. With the muffled sound of Gabriel's lifeless bodies collapsing over the trapdoor, the gunshots had ceased. Mika's body tensed up. It felt as though he had completely lost control, as if he was on autopilot. This was simply a bad dream. Yes, it had to be. This was a nightmare. He had been woken up by Ada wanting to go play or something, surely. She would have no doubt laughed at him if she told her this. She would. Her tears rolled down the hands that covered her mouth with all its desperate might. By now, her body had given up any kind of resistance. She simply leaned against him, simply accepting her fate. What about him? No, that couldn't be it. He would never accept such a fate. They have to pay. They will pay. I will kill every last one of them. This is like an ever cycle of revenge. Time marched on, a new day had dawned, and the sun had once again bathed the world in its radiance. A number of wagons came to halt at the entrance of the colony. A tall, middle-aged woman stepped out of the forefront car, her body bearing the scars of war.
We're too late.
Taking a puff of her cigarette, she took in the tragic beauty of the battlefield. Lifeless bodies were scattered across the yard, and it was abundantly clear who had emerged victorious from this battle.
I'll take a look around, madam. There may be survivors.
All right.
Despite her thoughts convincing her otherwise, she didn't want to deprive the naive boy of his hope. At the same time, however, she wanted this to be the stark demonstration of the cruelty this world can bear. It was all blurred, good and evil, wrong and right, righteous and criminal. In the end, they were two sides of the same coin. The only thing that gave them any meaning was the perspective of the hand that held it. Decisions are made under the misguided banner of ideals, revenge, and power, and every time human lives are caught amongst them. It was a never-ending vicious cycle.
At the end of the day, they're all equally victims and perpetrators.
She didn't find much use pondering on the what-if scenarios. It didn't matter. The damage was done, and it was irreversible. They were too late. A colony and all its inhabitants were executed in an act of revenge. Revenge for a crime a single woman was responsible for.
What a waste.
She caught a gaze lingering on her body of a man. Contrary to the others, this one did not belong to one of the residents, but to the military. Her eyes lay wide open. Any remnants of his soul were long gone. What an agonizing death he must have had. Although hours had passed, she could still feel an aura of indestructible rage and burning desire for revenge on his corpse. Oh.
Madam!
The boys shout below the large factory. Right next to her, couching an open trapdoor in the center hall, he made repeating, pointing motions downwards.
There are two right here. They're both still alive but unconscious.
Behind him was the lifeless body of another man. She had known him through Mari, even if only in passing. What was his name again?
Ah, I see. So that's what happened.
She cast a vacant stare up at the sky. The day before, enshrouded in a sea of white clouds, but now it immersed in a pearly, radiant blue. It doesn't look blue. At last, the icy bite of winter had released its iron-clad grip, hurtling a fresh start. The end. Aww. Aww. Well, I guess it's like an ever-ending cycle of like revenge in this case. So I'm wondering if the next part would be, I guess, his perspective, or maybe another rebellion part. But yeah, overall I really enjoyed it. So I hope you guys go out and play this game or play the original, or I guess the other story of us. But I'll see you guys next one. Bye!
It seems like he's asleep. And by the looks of it, he's having a beautiful dream. Maybe let him rest more. Yes, you're right. Sleep in, Mika.